I think we're about to find some really good gold here. Hey guys, I'm Jason with Mount Baker Mining and Metals, and on today's video we're going to do some extreme gold prospecting. To give you a little background, earlier this summer I found some really rich gold ore called listwonite. When I cut it with my rock saw, I looked under the microscope and there were almost bands of gold in it. So on today's video I'm going to hike up the creek, way up into the headwaters here, and look for the source. Unfortunately, it is pouring down rain. I am gonna get soaked today. Hopefully I'm gonna find some really good gold, and I'm gonna try not to die. I'm gonna try not to get eaten by a bear. I'm gonna try not to fall off a cliff. I'm gonna try not to drown in the creek. So let's go see if we can find some really nice gold ore and some really cool looking listwonite. So in the past, I found some really good float down here in this creek. And float is a piece of rock that's broken off the bedrock, rolled down the creek or down the hill, and it's just a piece of loose rock. Gravity rolled that thing downhill, so the source, the bedrock source, must be uphill somewhere. So I'm gonna follow the branches up and just keep looking for listwonite and try and follow it all the way to the source. And now we go into the Pacific Northwest jungle. Well, it can get a little spooky in here, but it's real dark in here. It's real wet in here. It's real quiet. Let me show you that. Somewhere there is about level, so it's 45 degrees uphill here. And it's just a jungle rainforest. Well, it's definitely getting steeper and cliffier. So hopefully I don't get cliffed out here, because then I have to go way back down and find an alternate route up. But it's, so far, we're doing okay. I can't tell if I'm almost at the ridge or if it's just real cloudy up there. Let me turn the camera around and show you. Here's where I'm going up. We're starting to get a bunch of rock outcrops, trees, but see, just past the trees there's no more tops, so maybe I'm getting close. Just hope I don't get cliffed out here. Well, I'm in the cliffs for sure. Right over there is just a drop off. Goes way down there. Bye. Don't fall down that. We made it. And thank goodness it started raining real hard, because I'm not soaking wet enough. That's how it goes in the Cascades. This is where you want to watch out for bears. We're almost at the tree line. They're getting ready to hibernate. They're real hungry. And so you don't want to run into a hungry black bear out here. Or Sasquatch for that matter, I guess. Although it'd be cool if I got one on video, huh? All right, let me work my way right up through this little pass right here. We'll get into this bowl. One of the nice things about the Cascades, you don't need to pack water. Oh, it's good. Fresh mountain spring water. Imagine if you could bottle and sell that, you'd be rich. Nowhere, in my opinion, comes close to where I'm sitting right now. This is just, I can't believe there's a place on the earth that looks like this. It's just, there's waterfalls everywhere, the clouds. If the clouds would lift, we'd get to see some amazing peaks. There's no wind right now, so whatever sound the camera's picking up is water, whether it's the rushing water of the creek or the dripping water of the water off the trees. But it's such a cool place right here. And there's no trails here. There's no people here. It's just me and the bears. Well, enough about the scenery. This is a prospecting video after all. Listwonite is iron and nickel rich typically, and so it weathers a really brown, dull brown color. And there's a big old patch of brown stuff right over here I want to check out, right in the headwaters of the creek. Well, a little geology lesson of the day. Dan, sorry, I don't mean to steal your thing there, but there's a cool thing right here, right behind me. There's a little tiny moraine from a glacier. You can see it's just piles of rock. This whole valley was glaciated, And you notice all this rock back over behind me here doesn't have any vegetation on it, so that's the younger stuff. The glacier hasn't been off that stuff as long. And then once you get back over here, you're starting to have some trees grow, some grass, things like that. And then up here on the side, where the glacier came down the valley like this, and up on the side, the trees are a lot older. But the glacier not too long ago, maybe 100, 200 years, melted out of here, and then things started to take over like nature does. And the closer I get, the better that's looking over there. See how it's all brown right above the snow? Good looking stuff right there. Well, this is kind of cool. I wanted to show you. There's a big dike right here. A big intrusive dike. And what happened here is there was a fault or a crack and some magma shot up in there and cooled just like a gold vein. So you have the rock on this side and the rock on this side is the same. You have this dike in the middle. I'll break some off. We can take a look at kind of the composition. This is also cool. I'll show you this. More geology stuff. See these striations right here? These are glacial striations. So as the ice drug its way down valley, it made these really cool striations all along the rock here. You can see them really well defined. This is probably a lot harder than the country rock. This stuff here is real soft and weathers away, but this has held those glacial striations. And so from these you can tell the direction of the flow of the ice. And this is kind of cool. I've never seen this where it comes over the top and it came around the side and it just kind of mushroomed this off here. So two different flow directions coming together. That's kind of neat. Here's a fresh break on that dike. And it's definitely on the felsic end. It's not extremely felsic, but felsic means more quartz and mafic means less quartz. Mafic is typically black or darker and felsic is a lot lighter. Another interesting thing here is there's absolutely no weathering rind on this stuff. So this has been exposed to the elements not very long at all. Sometimes you'll see dikes or rocks that have weather rinds that are inches or feet into their surface. But this one, you break it open and right there, there's a little bit of discoloration, but there's pretty much no weather rind at all. There's the other half. A few darker crystals in there, but more on the felsic end. And it just runs right down into the creek. Well, there's our dike right there. I haven't come too far. And here's our first interesting piece. That's what listwenite looks like. Oh, interesting, there's quartz on the backside. The greener the better. I'm not too excited about this piece, but we're on the right track. We're coming down into the valley bottom here. That thing is running super milk chocolatey brown, almost gray, more gray than anything. So they're getting a bunch of warm rain not too far up valley, melting a bunch of ice and snow, and it's coming down there. All the ground up rock from the glacial bowl up there somewhere is starting to come down this creek. I got to get across there somehow, probably down a little ways, but I like that we're starting to see some of this listwenite stuff. There's a piece right there looking across. There's some pieces right over here by this big rock, but we're on the right track here. I want to get over to that side right over there, see what we can see. Wow, that looks fast. How am I going to get across there? Okay, here's my spot. Oh man, look at these. Beauty. There's one. I just jumped across the creek and now all of a sudden it's everywhere. There's some, there's some. We're in the right spot. Well, distance is really weird right in here. I don't know if that's like half a mile away or 200 yards away. It's really, really weird. There's no reference, it's just rock. But here's where we're going. It didn't take me hardly any time to get over here. I think we're about to find some really good gold here. I'm finding some really good pieces here. Look at that, man, oh man. We're in the right spot. I'm gonna start bagging some of these up to take back. I'm right here at the base of this big snow bank. But I don't see any green stuff. I followed the creek up maybe 150 yards from the last time I spotted it. And there's a bunch of brown stuff, but I don't see any green. So I'm not gonna go up there. I'm gonna go back over to the other side here, over this little hump to the main creek and see if I can find some more green stuff. I'm back in the main channel and I'm back into this green. Look at that piece. Oh man, that's a beauty. That guy's going in the bag. Oh yeah, that's good stuff there. Put him in the bag right now. But we got to follow this float up. It's still fairly rounded, and so I'm a little worried it's way up there. But it had to come from up, so let's go up. Here's a beautiful example of glacial striations. You can kind of see them in the shadow. There you go. That rock just sat there and ice just drug across there, straight down the valley. This has not been ice-free for very long. Oh, there's a beautiful one. Look at these striations. Holy cow. Just sat there and the ice just drug along the side. Man, look at that. Power of nature. Well, I broke back over into the kind of the main channel, and now I'm starting to find it everywhere. So this is the side you want to be on, but you can just walk along and that bright green jumps right out at you. There's a piece that's not too good. There's a nice piece. Whoa, look at that piece. Whoa, this is a good one here. Beauty of a piece there. The problem is I don't want to hike all these up, so I'm going to make little piles and get them on the way down, I think. Look at there, the first little tree that's growing on this otherwise rocky moraine. So I got to figure out which one of these little drainages has the most lisponite in it. And there's a few brown rocks down there, but not very many. But when you look over here, look at all the brown rocks in that creek. Brown rocks over there. So I'm going to discount this stuff. I'm going to go right up this creek here and see if I can find the source. But I'm just following the float. It gets a little tricky when you're in a glaciated valley because the glacier can just bulldoze stuff all over the place. But there's certainly a higher concentration down this middle channel. Yeah, this valley's just loaded with it. Brown everywhere. Well, I'm going up the creek, just breaking open rocks. And this, I can't tell, and I don't have a loop with me, but that right there looks suspiciously good. When I slabbed it in my saw last time, that's what you were looking for, is that kind of yellowy, dusty looking stuff. That might all be gold right there. I can't tell, but that's what I'm definitely going to put in my pack and get it slabbed up when we get back home. Good stuff. Man, look at the color of that. Really, really pretty. Beautiful stone. Can't wait to cut it. Do you ever feel like the walls are closing in on you? Because that's how I feel. I keep going up and up and up and just never feel like I'm getting anywhere. Down there is where I came from, and up there is where I'm going. some interesting stuff, intrusions in this phyllite, like that stuff up there. Well, here's the first outcrop I've seen with green on it. And I was kind of hoping to find a big zone or a band or a vein, but it might just be like little pods all throughout the country rock here. I've tried to come up and over a little bit, try and get around that canyon, but I might be looking for something that doesn't exist here, in the fact that there's a bunch of little pods of it and not one big zone. But I'm going to keep going up, and if I can't find a big zone or I find these little outcrops, I'll see what I can do on those. But I think probably what's going to happen is I'll collect all my good specimens on the way down. When I hike back down, I'll just get the float and then we can saw them up. But I'd really like to find an area where there's a nice big outcrop of it. Well, here's a pretty good little pod of it. Right down here, it's just kind of like a pod. There's a boundary there, and it just kind of fades off into the country rock over there. It's got the green in it we like, but it's just not very big. Well, hang on here. Here's a pretty good outcrop of it. Nice green there, kind of jumbled up. Big chunk of it there, kind of all the way up that way. So we're starting to, we're in the zone. We're in the right spot. I'm way the heck up here. This is the creek I was following up. I had to go around because it went into a little canyon area. But we'll get, see, there's another nice little, right over here, a nice little looking spot of it. Oh, heck, maybe that whole mountain right there is part of it. But we're in the good spot here. Huh. There's a glacier. I made it to the glacier. That's kind of cool. I find these all over the place when I'm out hiking way out in the backcountry. That's a balloon. Floated up here and popped, and that's where it landed, right up here at the toe of this glacier. Man, I wish I could see what's up past that glacier, because I think there's a nasty big old peak right up above us there. But it's cloudy today. Let's see if I can get around on this thing. I'm walking on ancient ice here, and it's just melting away. Running right down into the creek and down into the ocean. Look at how silty, fine silty glacial flowers coming off of that water. But then you look down here and the ice is clear. You can see way down in it. Well, this is interesting. I'm right by this glacier here. There's a big outcrop of what looks like listronite. It's not very green, but it's certainly kind of that metamorphosed listronite looking stuff. But then here, all along the margin, is this nice green looking stuff. So I wonder if there's some sort of chemistry that right along the edges of the contacts you get some green mineralization happening. Just came over the hill. We're kind of at this margin zone again, and it's just really, really green. Let me see if I can get my hammer and chisel out and knock some of that off of there. Because I think right here is the contact, because then you got this phyllite over here, and right along the contact you get this green popping out. Whoa. Look at all that green. Oh boy, let's get that washed off. Wow, that's beautiful stuff. I wonder if I can break this up, carry some of it down. It's mostly phyllite, and there's the contact where it's super green. Weird. It's right along the contact, right where it hits the phyllite. This is a big chunk of phyllite with a little rind of this green on it. Well, look at some of these beauties. I've got some really, really good stuff here. Man, oh man. I cannot wait to get that slab. Look at the color on that. It's just amazing. And it's right there, right in the band, right in the phyllite. And once you get up into whatever this is, maybe it's just more phyllite, but it's kind of right here. There might be a little slip here, a little seam, but it's just right along, all the way along here. Ooh, look at that piece. Haven't been over here yet. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to work along this contact here a little bit, see what else I can find. Ooh, this is fun. Well, I wanted to share a little bit of my limited understanding about kind of what listronite is and how it forms. It's an ultramafic rock, so it's originated as like serpentine. And what happens is, I believe this whole valley I'm walking up is this huge giant fault zone. The rock just looks tortured. There's all kinds of slicking sides and all these surfaces. So I think there's just this big, huge fault zone right here. And this outcrop behind me, and it kind of wraps around, and I've scouted it out some, and there's just kind of this big blob of what I'm calling listronite. And I think what happened was it was originally this lens of this ultramafic serpentine, and it's got caught up in this fault zone, which is real common, where it comes from deep in the earth, comes up to the surface, and then hydrothermal alteration happened, where you had some mineral-rich hot fluids come through, and it altered this serpentine into listronite. And that's why you have, even though it's an ultramafic rock, it's full of quartz, and it's full of these minerals that you don't often associate with ultramafic rocks. But it still carries a lot of the nickel. I'm not sure if there's cobalt in there or not, but that's where that green blue comes from. And while I was walking around, I found a piece of kind of unaltered serpentine. You can see right in here, this dark green stuff is serpentine. And so this is somewhere in this fault zone that didn't get hydrothermally altered. So this is the original host rock, and this stuff behind me, this brown stuff, is that altered serpentine that ends up becoming listronite. I've walked around the other side of the outcrop, and here's a really good example of that serpentine ultramafic looking stuff. Here's some more of it. And I don't know if I'm going to lie to you here, but I think there's a mineral called actinolite. And that might be what this is. I gotta check myself. But a lot of times what this ends up being is it turns into asbestos. And so this is probably a naturally occurring pocket of asbestos, but you can see those big, long, needly crystals on there. Nice example. And so it's interesting, on this side of the outcrop, you don't have the hydrothermal alteration that we do on the contact zone of the other side. And it's only about 50 feet over to the south there. All right, one last look at glacial striations, I promise. But this is just one of the most textbook examples. All those scratches on the surface of that rock is from that glacier right there, when it was a lot thicker and bigger, and it was just scraping over the top of this rock, causing all those glacial striations. Really, really good example. My bag's as heavy as I want to carry down, and I'm going to get a couple more samples on my way down that I stashed. Hey, look at here. Another balloon. Happy birthday to somebody or something. I guess I'll pack that out. We don't need to leave that up here. So here's the tricky part about this, is I got to go down this real steep drainage. It's all loose as can be. So one little slip, and you might break a leg or an arm or whack your head. Then you got stuff like that. See that? There's ice hiding under some of this rock. So if I take the wrong step, I get whacked. So I got to go down through that little slot there. See if I can make it. I'm walking down this really cool little finger moraine between these two creeks, and I just happened to stumble across this guy. I think that's a big piece of jade. I think it's a really high quality piece of jade. Holy moly, it's a monster. It's like 100 pounds, but it's just 100% solid jade, I think. Is that jade? I think that's jade. Leave me a comment, let me know. But it's been glaciated, nice smooth face, nice smooth bottom. It's actually probably what you call a faceted clast, where it's been drugged down underneath the ice, and as it rolls over, it scrapes one side smooth and turns it kind of square. Anyway, oh gosh, what do I do with it? What's that worth? I don't even know if I could pack it out of there. I think it's like 100 pounds or more. Oh boy. Dan, what do I do? Well, reluctantly it gave up a little piece of itself. I whacked on that for a long time with a hammer and chisel. But I got a little piece. I'll take this down and cut it up too, see what it looks like. And then we can see if it's real jade. I could probably get that in my bag and pack down if that was all I was carrying. Probably weighs about 60 or 80 pounds. Man, it's a beautiful piece. But we're on Listwanite today. I'm working my way down. My pack is probably 50 pounds. Probably got too many rocks in it. But hey, weird question for you guys. Why is my right knee popping every time I take a step? Like on the outside of my right knee, it like snaps. Like there's a tendon whipping across something in there. Is that okay? It doesn't really hurt, but I'm not even 40 yet. And my knees are popping and my hips are sore. I'm gonna be sore tonight, let me tell you that. So to give you a little perspective, I walked up that moraine, up there, up the creek, into the clouds, and we were right on top of that guy right there. Right there is where that outcrop was. So I've had to come all the way down, and now I've got to go back up over a little knob and down to the truck. But one more view at the scenery here. This is such a beautiful place. All right, everybody, this is the sketchiest part of the whole thing. It is, there's my foot dangling in the air, and it's just all I can do. I'm using both hands and both feet. I've gained an extra 50 or 60, so it makes it a lot harder going down, grabbing everything, sliding on my butt in places. And so this is the nasty part. I was all worried about breaking a leg up above. This one, if I get going, I'm just going. There's nothing stopping me. So, just taking it slow, but man, all that extra weight is not helping me at all. Well, I made it out. That was the sketchiest thing I've ever done. Maybe. I'm embarrassed how many times I had to slide my butt, how many times I had to grab onto a tree, how many times I had to talk myself into just do it. Just reach for that next branch. Just take that next step. I probably won't be going back up that way again. The bag obviously didn't help. If I didn't have a bag, it'd be a lot easier coming down. But I'm not 20 anymore, and I'm coming to terms with that. So, but I'm back. We'll get these things down to the rock shop, and we'll get them cut open and see what we have in them. That's going to be on another video, so I'll end this one here. Stay tuned to see what these rocks look like once they're cut open. They might even just show up on eBay later. So thanks for watching, everybody. We'll see you on the next video.